Mr. President, over the last decade, American companies outsourced about 2.5 million jobs, often to countries where they can hire workers for half the price. And 21 million Americans, including nearly 7 million manufacturing workers, live with the fear that their jobs could be shipped overseas tomorrow. More than 130,000 of those at-risk workers live in Nevada. In the presiding officer's home state of New Mexico, more than 100,000 jobs in manufacturing, sales, management, the financial sector, and other industries are in jeopardy. And more than 300,000 jobs in the state of Kentucky, the state of my Republican counterpart, are also at risk. So I was surprised yesterday when the minority leader dismissed efforts to end taxpayer incentives for companies that outsource jobs overseas. Quote, he said, "Why aren't we doing anything?" Continued quote, "It's time to bring up serious legislation that affects the future of the country." Close quote. At a time when millions of Americans are looking for work, I'm not sure what could be more serious in protecting good-paying, middle-class jobs. The Bring Jobs Home Act, the measure before this body, would end tax incentives for corporations that ship jobs overseas. Every time an American company closes a factory or a call center in America and moves operations to another country, Mr. President, taxpayers pick up part of that moving bill. Hard to comprehend, but it's true. The legislation before this body would end that senseless series of tax breaks for outsourcers. And it would offer a 20% tax credit to help with the cost of moving production back to the United States. In just the last few years, major manufacturers like Ford, Caterpillar brought jobs back to the United States from Japan, Mexico, and China. And smaller manufacturers like Masterlock have moved facilities home as well. Congress must do everything in its power to encourage this trend. But let me remind the entire Senate. The Senate must break a record filibuster again, a record-breaking filibuster again, a Republican filibuster, before it can even begin debating the Bring Jobs Home Act. This obstruction tactic is unfortunate, but it's not surprising. After all, Republicans nominee for president made a fortune working for a company that shipped jobs overseas. Yesterday, my friend Senator McConnell said he wants to debate serious legislation. If that's the case, he should urge his Republican colleagues to drop their filibuster. The Bring Jobs Home Act is a common-sense strategy to protect American workers. To 21 million Americans whose jobs could be the next one sent to China or India, it's a very, very serious proposal. And to the 2.5 million Americans whose jobs have already been offshored, it doesn't get any more serious than this. The only ones who aren't taking this legislation seriously are the Republicans in Congress.